They've conquered countless cases of PTSD, helped hundreds overcome a whole host of phobias. But now the Speakmans can celebrate an achievement of their own.
That's right. Despite academics, psychiatrists and even some viewers doubting their methods, Nick and Eva have finally received the recognition that they deserve. Before we speak to them, let's see how the Speakmans have achieved their amazing results.
I can remember the day very clearly, 7/7, we were told to go and conduct a search of this other train because they think there's a secondary device on there.
Tell me what happened on the 3rd of September.
He died for his country.
Is this the closest you've been? Do you want to go any further or do you want to leave it here?
No.
I chased the suspect. There's a metal signal post. My leg wraps around it in the direction it shouldn't have wrapped around it. The consequences for that one mistake are just unbearable.
We're talking about walking to a train station. Where's the danger?
When you were searching for that secondary device, you've never stopped searching?
Yeah, quite possibly. I've never looked at it that way.
You chased somebody for nearly a mile. What were you wearing?
Uniform.
Was it ever about you personally?
No, it couldn't have been.
By acknowledging that Gavin's died, you can move on with your life.
There's no anxiety, there's no fear or reservation. I just kind of want to go in now.
Absolutely, brilliant.
Quite emotional.
It is, yeah. You can feel the emotion. I can feel the emotion now. It is almost like a bit of closure. It's almost like I've been given my life back and a clean slate, ready to go again. Honestly, I can't thank you enough.
Well, Nick and Eva are here now, and we've been very lucky to have a front row seat to the work that you do, and it is incredible. You've been working together since '92, and you developed your own form of trauma therapy, and we've sort of called it schemas and this, that and the other, but it's actually VSDT. So what is that?
That's part, I mean, it works with schemas because a schema is a cognitive thought process and a way that we interpret and organise information, and basically in a memory. So anyone that suffers a trauma, they have a memory, and where traditional therapy deals with the symptoms as such, trying to work back to the memory, we just want to know what caused it, because ultimately, prior to seeing the trauma, or you didn't have a problem, and usually traumas happen in a minute or, you know, even less sometimes. So we always had the view, well, if you can get trauma so quickly, well, why can't it be taken away so quickly?
Well, we saw there, and we've seen, you know, throughout the years on This Morning, how successful your therapy is. But there are still academics, certainly members of the public, who don't believe it.
Correct.
And so what you have been searching for, we obviously have seen it, as Holly said, firsthand.
Yeah.
We've seen how it transforms lives. What you had to do was to convince academia, and that is precisely what has just happened. You have down on the table there, this is embargoed, most of what you have, so it's a bit secret at the moment.
Yes.
But you have undergone rigorous studies, and what have been the results?
The results have been, they actually tested our therapy. They've done two lots of tests. The first was with 38 people. The second one was with 75. So over 100 people have been tested.
And where was this?
This was actually at part of two universities, primarily at Utrecht University in the Netherlands, and professors at Amsterdam University have been involved as well. This started 2 years ago, where we started the studies, and the results have actually come through. They tested them initially against a treatment which is the World Health Organisation's, they recommend the first line of treatment for trauma. It's what we use in the NHS as well, a treatment called EMDR, and they tested it against EMDR.
EMDR is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing.
Correct, which is very successful. However, like I said, the study has been conducted, and I'll just give you the bottom line. Surprisingly, both experiments showed that visual schema displacement therapy was superior to EMDR.
Wow, so this is currently what we have in the NHS. If you have a trauma and you go to your GP and they recommend you and you go through that system, if you're lucky enough to get on it, you will be put on something that has now been proven to be not quite as successful as yours.
As ours.
Yeah, and not as quick. So, I mean, the great thing is that, you know, you guys have seen it, you've supported us, and I cannot thank you enough, because we genuinely wouldn't be where we are now if it hadn't been for the belief that you guys in This Morning have had in us, because the professors actually found us from somebody sent them footage from this programme and said, you need to see this, and that's why they came and found us.
Wow.
And we've been working so hard and relentlessly over the last 2 years with them
Well, this is a rigorous study,
Yes.
and it's certainly a study, as we've said, you know, so by a very prestigious university with extraordinary results that surprised them.
Yes.
So now you have this tool, this weapon. What can you use it for?
Well, we would love to speak to the NHS, basically, because we believe that, I mean, it's shown that our therapy is worked in these studies better than EMDR, and we genuinely believe that using our therapy in the NHS, that we could reduce the waiting lists, we could help people get off long-term medication, and we can make a massive difference.
Yeah, and if I can just say that the studies that we did on over 100, we didn't actually do it. I must tell you that it wasn't us doing the therapy. That's really important. We actually trained the psychologists out there, the PhD student. We've just trained a further 3 master psychology students out there for another study. So it wasn't us conducting the therapy, which was just so very exciting, because now that we know that other people can do it, it means it translates, it means we can train others. We would happily train psychologists in the NHS, because we just want to pass it forward. That's always been our motivation.
And this is, I mean, it's such a passion of yours, because you know it works and you know it changes lives, and you wish you could multiply yourselves into 1 billion people and send loads of you out there, because then you could help lots of people. This is something you want to give away for free. This is not a money-making thing for you.
Absolutely not. And it never has been, which has always been what's been so frustrating, because we have been knocked down time and time and time and time again.
Hideously trolled.
Hideously so, because it can't be true, and I think fraud is used, and all these kind of things. And all we've just said is, look, we've been showing you we can do it, but we didn't have science on our side, and now finally we have science on our side. We are actually doing further patient studies in this country, which we're going to start in November. In Amsterdam, they're doing another study with the 3 master students, each doing 48 people. We'll be doing this, our therapy, with 48 people each. And so, yeah, I mean, we would love to speak to the royal family, with the royals, with regards to the mental health charity that they support. You know, the consequence of what we've got now is that we've got scientific data, and we can share this out and move it forward.
Interestingly, because of the first interview that we did this morning, that we now have this breaking news that there will be a Minister for Suicide Prevention, there is a direct link here because of the work that you do. Many of the case studies that we saw there were on the brink of suicide.
Yes, they were.
Your therapy brought them back.
So. Yes.
And so, therefore, you working hand in hand with this new breaking news this morning and the Minister for Suicide Prevention, then that also, I would have thought, would be a link worth pursuing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, like you say, even the chaps that we just saw there, Paul and Russ, both, like you say, attempted suicide. Now, we treated them, I think, 2.5, 3 years ago, because the other thing that people have said to us is, but does it last? Well, again, in the second studies that they did do a revisit, and Paul and Russ are a great example 3 years later. But absolutely, yes, we would love to be able to, you know, like, get that link, speak to them, and offer our services.
And also, I know that we're running out of time, unfortunately, but University of Worcester, they're interested in now, so the waiver started.
Yeah, and we just literally, I think now it's down to a lot of funding is going to be necessary, because they want to test it against CBT, and it's a very expensive process.
Yeah.
But what's been done so far is colossal. Like I say, we've got the scientific data, we've got the evidence, and our therapy works.
Well, well done.
Thank you.
Well
Thank
done,
Very
you
proud of you.
two.
Well
Oh,
done.
God,
Thank you all
anytime, you're brilliant. Thank you both.